motto or slogan, more devotees, happier devotees. What do you think of that? It's quite nice, I think. More devotees. Of course, we want more devotees. It's the movement of Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya wanted everyone, actually, to become a devotee. The whole world. And even Prabhupada, well, Lord Chaitanya, also in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srila Prabhupada, there have made comments like, this Krishna consciousness movement is going to eventually spread to other planets. We are just waiting for NASA, that's the American space people, and I don't know, maybe their colleagues or in Russia, to actually go to other planets. That's a whole other subject, of course. But let's just say, to go to other planets, and once they get things sorted out, so they can do that in reliable ways, then, well, Prabhupada talked about the movement going to other planets. So maybe NASA is being engaged by Lord Chaitanya in that way. So more devotees is definitely a very important part of what is the Krishna consciousness movement and what is the development of the Krishna consciousness movement. But we don't want in South Africa, where I'm based, there's a very interesting and sort of very telling, revealing type of idea that, there's a big Hindu community there, but now about half of them are not Hindus, they're Christians. And that's happened in different ways, but one way is that the Christians, they have their supporters in America and Europe, perhaps, definitely in America, who have lots of money, and they send money to South Africa so that the Christians can buy groceries for the poor Hindus and then convert them by supplying them with groceries, and so they're called grocery Christians. And if we, or even say if the Muslims came along and did the same thing but maybe a bit better, they become grocery Muslims, because they're mainly in it for the groceries. So we don't want to just expand numerically based on something like that, something of that nature. We want people to actually become devotees, real devotees, and to be devotees because they have understood, they have appreciated that Krishna consciousness really is the truth, and it's the right thing to do. Otherwise what happens, just as a little historical aside, in the development of Christianity, right, going back to a few hundred years after Jesus left this world, in the beginning, it was the core, the teachers, the preachers, the leaders. They were his disciples, and then disciples of his disciples, and then very strict renunciates who were following very sincerely. But then they had this idea, let's spread it, and let's get as many people as we can. So they lowered their standards. They lowered their standards so that more people would come, and more people came. And in fact, so many more people came, huge numbers, far more than the very strict followers, that the new people with the low standards, they took over. And that's what Christianity is now. It's not the really serious followers who, for example, are vegetarian and don't take intoxicants, but it's people who are on much lower levels. Anyway, that's just by the way. But we want more people, of course. We would like to engage as many people as possible, but it has to be done in real Krishna consciousness. So quantity, we're looking for quantity, but not at the expense of quality. You may have heard that Srila Prabhupada, there was at least one little period of time in the sort of mid-1970s, as the movement was really dramatically starting to expand in America and Europe and places like that. It was really starting to expand. But Prabhupada became concerned about the quality. So Prabhupada at one point sent out communications saying, let us boil the milk. Meaning, when you boil milk, if you know something about milk sweets, then you keep boiling the milk and it thickens and it becomes richer and it really becomes something very special. So Prabhupada wanted us to do that. So this is connected with devotee care. It happens in ISKCON in some places sometimes. Even I visit somewhere a year later. In many cases, I can only manage to come once a year. So I visit. There I am, I've arrived, and I ask someone, where is ... somebody? Where is somebody? And the devotee I ask says, oh, I don't know. I haven't seen him for ages. I don't know if you've had that experience of asking or just looking around yourself and realizing, oh, I haven't seen this devotee X for months. Where's he gone? What happened? Because what happens sometimes in some places, because we're very occupied, we emphasize being engaged in Krishna consciousness and not being lazy, but, really trying to be active in devotional service. But what happens is that sometimes we just get caught up in what we're doing and we don't notice when someone has drifted off. It definitely happens. It definitely happens. Or how about this, which sometimes happens, and sometimes it doesn't happen, but it does happen sometimes, that some devotee gets very sick, but no one goes to visit him or her in the hospital, except maybe immediate family. These things sometimes happen. In fact, we have a a little bit of a reputation like that in some places. We're good with the numbers, but looking after them, we're weaker. So I don't know exactly how it works here, but personally, at least I personally, if there's someone who I know or even just know of who has somehow ended up in hospital, like you remember that one girl, she was on the book distribution party, she got hit by a motorbike on that road. Do you remember? Was it this road? Okay. So anyway, when I heard, I went to the hospital to see her. She was still unconscious. But, we should try and take an interest on one hand. Of course, you can only take an interest in things which you are aware of. If we have no way of communicating these things, you may just not know that someone's in hospital. So that's another part of the picture. There's a need for communications. But there's a need, but the bottom line is, there's a need not just for more devotees, but for really looking after our devotees. So that our devotees who have come to us and who have read the books and heard the classes, and they know what Prabhupada has said, what Krishna has said, and how important it is to be a devotee and how important devotees are.